Listen up or run for cover. Dropping knowledge from the people who have it to the people who need it. The real Brad Lee Bombs is dropping
What it is, Brad Lee back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs. Today in the studio, folks, I've got a real treat for you because I'm all alone. Yes, indeed. The demand was heard and you guys wanted more solo bombs. So I figured what better timing than New Year's to give you a solo bomb. Now, with that being said, make sure that you're subscribed. Okay, people? Okay. Supposedly I got like 6 billion listeners and only a couple thousand, or not even 1,000, maybe 1,000 reviews. You know, I don't know if you guys know this, but shit, dude, this cost me time and money. I'm dropping bombs. I'm bringing guests so you guys can avoid challenges and situations in life. Everybody DMs me and sends in emails talking about how much value they get and how badass it is and how funny it is. Would it be too much to ask to have you go leave me a little review? Just leave a little review, okay? Share an episode out, man. Bring me one listener. Turn me on to someone that maybe is a friend of yours or a relative that's never heard me. Make sure that they realize it is a little bit of an R-rated episode, but go out there and give it a share. So now, what do I want to talk about for 2021? I mean, obviously 2020 was a masterfully orchestrated fiasco with COVID and everything. And again, I mean, I teach perspective, so it was an incredible year for me. I thought it was an amazing opportunity to learn, to grow, and to develop new skill sets, to adapt, to pivot, so I could, readjust and continue on down the path. But a lot of people crashed. A lot of people burned. A lot of people got stuck, man. They didn't know what to do. A lot of people started complaining. A lot of people started, making excuses, looking for new jobs, looking for new work, looking for new industries. And ultimately, their whole year went to shit. So I didn't want that to happen to you guys this year, 2021. 2021 is going to be your year, okay? You tell me right now if it's not going to be your year, but in my opinion, it is going to be your year. If you're driving in a vehicle right now, honk the damn horn, scream out loud. This will be my year. Now, in case anytime throughout the year, you kind of feel stuck or lost, or you don't know why things aren't progressing as much as you would like, I'm going to give you a little hack I developed over the years. Now, I call them the M-Guages. And the reason I call them the M-Guages is because they all start with an M. But the reason they're gauges is because, you know how you're driving in a car, you're cruising along, all of a sudden it slows down or starts to sputter and you don't know what's wrong. What's the first thing you do? Boom. You look at the gauges. Okay. Well, that's the same with life. When you're in, cruise control down the highway in life, you ultimately start to sputter and spew. And, if you don't have any gauges to look at, you pretty much are lost. So I developed the 5 M-Guages, and I'm going to go over each one. First one, I want you to, and by the way, if you're driving, you do this later. Don't do it now. But the first one is your mindset. Draw a little box, write the word mindset in there. Now, your mindset is pretty much your belief system. What do you believe? What's causing you to decide the things you decide and do the things you do is ultimately your beliefs. So the first gauge is mindset. It's the mindset gauge. Now, the next gauge is what's called a map. Okay. M-A-P, map, your map. That box is basically your clarity. Do you know where you're going? Do you know what you want? Are you clear on where you want to end up in life? Are your goals so defined that you can describe exactly what they are, down to the penny in the bank account, down to the address on the homes? How many homes do you have? What kind of carpet or flooring is inside them? What's in the garage? Have you looked in the garage? Have you been inside the house multiple times? Do you have that kind of clarity? That's the map, okay? The map is very simple. If you're driving to, let's say, upstate New York to find a little restaurant, and if you show up there within a certain amount of time, you get $1 million cash, and you're starting in California, would you rather have a map, a detailed map, GPS, or would you rather have a map drawn with a crayon? Well, clearly the GPS satellite imagery, the full-blown detailed map, is going to help you get there faster and more efficiently and with more certainty. So you want clarity in your map. Okay, the next one is motion. Third box is motion. Just write down the word motion. Motions are your actions. They're your choices. They're your habits, really. I mean, when it boils down to it, folks, let's not make it difficult. Life boils down to choices and habits. What habits do you have? What are you doing every single day? Now, the next box, which is the pretty important box, measurement. Measurement. Write down the word measurement. Draw a box around it. So far, you should have mindset, map, motion, and now measurement. Basically, measurement is very simple. That gauge ultimately tells you what you're measuring. Because if you're not measuring anything, you're not managing anything. And if you're not managing anything, then technically, it's not going to improve. And if it does, it's strictly by chance, and it's not, duplicatable, and it's just not a good thing. So you want the measurement gauge to tell you kind of what are you measuring in life. And then the last one, your money. Okay, write down money and then put a box around it. Okay, so now what you're looking at are the 5 M-Guages. Now, throughout 2021, if everything's going perfect and you're just cruising right along and you're kicking more ass than you ever thought possible, you may not even glance at these gauges. But should you not accelerate as quickly as you'd like, achieve the success you're really looking for during any given day, week, month of the year 2021, then I hereby order you or suggest that you look at your M-Guages. And here's how they work. Let's say, for example, you're not making as much money as you'd like. Where do you think you'd look? Most people say, look at the money box. No. You don't look at the money box if you're not making much money. Okay, that's not what the money box is. The money gauge, we'll start calling them gauges, because I do call them the M-Guages, mind you, but I visualize them in little boxes. But you don't look at the money gauge because you're not making enough money or you want to make more money. That's not the box you look at. The gauge you look at if you're not making enough money is first you go up to the first one, the most important one. Because, folks, if your mindset isn't right, if your belief system isn't right, the rest of it is far harder to utilize. If your mindset, if your belief system, if what you believe to be true is not adjusted, ultimately you're doomed and destined to repeat the same mistakes, to operate in a way that's just not going to make you very successful. So that mindset gauge is what you look at first, because if your mindset's correct and everything there's good, well, then you can continue through the gauges. But I always have people go to the mindset gauge first, because the mindset gauge is usually where the problem is. Most people have the problem in their own head. They limit themselves. They come up with, negative self-talk. They have beliefs about whether they can or can't do something, and it affects their ability to actually achieve. There's such a thing as self-sabotage. You may be one of those people that, things are going good and somehow, some way you end up getting kicked in the dick and boom, you're right back to square one. You don't know why. And the bottom line is it's your mindset. I can promise you that. And I'll teach you another thing maybe later that will get you out of that. Generally speaking, what people do is they have a belief system that's subconscious and they don't understand why it happens because it's below awareness. So I've got a little mechanism that'll get you through that as well. But you look at the mindset gauge and you determine, is it my belief system? Is there something that I want or need or put down as a goal and I can't achieve it, and for some reason I'm not getting the progress I need or the results that I need? So boom, you look at the mindset gauge and you realize it's a belief system. I don't think it's possible. See, because if you're trying to make, let's say, let's throw out, I'm going to make $1 million this year. If in your mind you don't believe that it's possible, you probably won't do it. So the mindset box is just that. What beliefs do you have? Are your beliefs in check? Yes or no? I'm having issues making the money. Well, let's go check the gauges. Mindset. Do I believe it's possible? Do I think that I'm worth it? Is there something mentally blocking me from doing what's necessary? Are my beliefs out of whack? 9 times out of 10, that's where you're going to find your problem. Your answer is going to be yes. You don't even believe it's possible. If you don't believe it's possible, folks, you have to change your mind. Now, that's the trick. Most people stop right there. They get stuck. They don't know how to change their mind. The only way to change your mind is to get new information. Just like you probably heard about dropping bombs. Everyone told you how good it was. And then you listened to it and you changed your mind. Why? Well, because again, you got new information. You heard it for yourself, whatever the case may be. Somebody told you this movie was great. You went and saw it yourself. You didn't agree. It was now a shitty movie. You were looking forward to it. You were anticipating a great movie. You got new information, and now you've decided it's a bad movie. That's changing your mind. This belief system of yours needs to change in order to get you to do the things that you need to do to make those progress points happen, so to speak. So ultimately what you do is you look at the mindset and figure out whether or not you actually believe if it's possible. And if you do, great, move to the next box. If you don't, fix your beliefs. How do you fix your beliefs? You change your mind. How do you change your mind? You get new information. So obviously, if your belief system is screwing you up about money, you want to go get new information regarding money. If your belief system is screwing you up in relationships, you want to go get more information about relationships. But you just want to keep consuming new information, and eventually your mind will change when you bring in that new information. If it's not your mindset, now you move to the next box. Is it your map? Are you clear? Do you have clarity? Do you know exactly where you're going, and do you know how to get there? Do you have your map? 9 times out of 10, if it's not your mindset, it's this one. You don't have clarity of where you're going. You don't know how to get there, and you're not asking for directions. You're just sitting there in the middle of fucking nowhere without a map. And that is where most people go wrong. They're wandering out in the freaking middle of nowhere, afraid to ask for help. I can't tell you how many people fail to ask for help when it's almost the easiest thing to do. Why? Well, then they're going to feel embarrassed. Well, then somebody's going to think something about them. Are you one of these people? Are you afraid to ask for help? Are you one of those people that'll drive around looking for an address for 6 hours rather than just pulling over and asking somebody local for directions? If that's the case, you might want to rethink this, because when you're looking at that gauge, your map gauge, and it's out of whack, the only way to fix it is to stop and ask directions. You have to fix the problem. If the map gauge is telling you that you're lost, you don't know where to go, you don't know what directions to take, you don't know what choices to make, or you're going to be sitting there in 2021 just like you are in 2020 or 1992. It doesn't matter. Nothing will change until you do. You're not going to get something different by doing the same things, thinking the same things, believing the same things. And most people don't have clarity anyway. I ask people all the time, you know what you want out of life? They're like, well, of course I do. And I say, well, where do you live? And they say, what do you mean? I say, well, in your dream life, where do you live? And they start thinking, well, that's not clarity. Where do you live? I live in Newport Beach. I also live in San Diego. I also live in New York. I also have a mountain house in Telluride, Colorado. What address? You don't know the address? You haven't even thought about the address? What's the inside look like? Oh, you've never been in the house. How are you going to get something you don't even know what it looks like? So I urge you to get the detail in that map down. Now, if it's not the map gauge, I want you to move down to the motions. The motions are usually the problem if it's not the mindset and it's not the map, it's not your clarity. Well, then it's your actions, it's your habits, it's your daily choices that is screwing you up. And what's crazy is if you take all the complication out of it, life boils down to choices. Every day we're faced with decisions and choices, whether it be, do I eat this or do I eat that? Do I do this or do I do that? Do I get up early or do I stay in bed? Do I make another call? Do I prospect a little harder? Do I work a little longer? Do I have this drink? Do I go to that party? Do I blow that money? Do I buy that watch? They're all choices. It's just a series of choices every day, but they're insignificant choices. But those insignificant choices catch up to you. Just like you eat a donut today, insignificant. You ate a donut, big deal. Well, you keep doing that and you keep doing that and you keep doing that. And then your choices are you're skipping the gym and you're skipping the gym. Next thing you know, 2 years later, someone goes, holy crap, dude, what the hell happened? Well, they were insignificant the whole time, individually, day by day. Those are just insignificant little choices. Big deal, you skipped the gym. Big deal, you had 10 donuts. But at the end of the day, those things start to aggregate and they cause havoc in the future. And people don't understand what happened. Well, that's because nothing major happened. It was just a bunch of little baby things that contributed to the major problem. And most people, again, have that issue. They're such small, insignificant little choices. We've got this little rationalization going on in our head. I don't need to go to work much longer. Hell, I worked hard last week. Hey, man, I deserve a break. Who cares what Brad Lee thinks anyway? Screw that dude. I don't really care. Screw dropping bombs. I'm going to do what I feel like doing. I deserve to feel like this. Next thing you know, you're making the choices. So the motions box is your habits. It's your choices. It's your decisions. What are you doing? So if you're having a problem, you go back to the mindset box. You believe everything's kosher. Good. Boom. Are you clear? You know where you're going? You know how you get there? Yeah. Boom. 3, your motions. Are your daily actions mapping to those map locations? Are the habits and the decisions and the choices and the actions that you're taking, are the motions that you're creating every day mapping to those locations? The answer is either yes or no. Again, try to remove all the complication. Just ask yourself, am I moving towards the goal or away from the goal with this choice? Let's say your choice is to be in better shape. And now, hey, is eating this piece of cake moving me towards my goal or away from my goal? Because if your map has, perfect fitness at this point in time on the map, as part of what you believe heaven on earth looks like, you have this idea of, 6-pack, whatever the case may be. Well, your motion gauge is screwed up if you're eating shit that full blown, you're moving away from the destination on that map. Your navigation points, your end points, I don't know what they call them on GPS, but you know what I'm talking about. Where you put in the little bing and that's where I'm going, the pin. Okay. Are you moving towards the pin or away from the pin? Stop lying to yourself. There's nobody here that cares what you're doing and saying. Be honest with yourself. Tell the truth for once. Quit rationalizing. Tell the truth. Is that decision, don't rationalize. Is that decision moving towards or away? And you'll start to realize, holy shit, if I pay attention, every choice I make is either moving towards the destination or away from the destination. There's no such thing as anything else. Everything you do moves you towards those waypoints on the map or away from them. So if you have clarity in the map gauge, you know exactly where you're going or where you want to go at least. The motion gauge will tell you, are you moving towards those or away from those? But you have to be looking at them. You have to be paying attention and you have to be honest with yourself. Now, let's just say you have an issue, something's going wrong. You're going to the M-Guages like OBL told you to. New Year's Eve. Brad Lee says, hey, let me explain the M-Guages. They've helped me, by the way, get through a lot of shitty times where I'm like, dude, something's not right. I can sense something's not right. Why am I not winning? Why am I not catching my break? Why am I not getting where I want to go? It feels like I'm on a treadmill. And then by the way, I don't know if you ever, when it rains, it pours. Shit starts to not to go right. Then more shit not goes right or doesn't go right, or however you say that correctly. Next thing you know, the whole freaking world's coming down on you. It's like, one thing after another. It's like wiping your ass with a hula hoop. Shit never ends. Bang, right in the head every time. Bam, and then it gets more severe. Bam, speeds up. Pow, pow. Next thing you know, dude, your life's in shambles. You don't know what to do. Well, remember this podcast, folks. I'm telling you what to do. It works. Go look at your M-Guages. Those are your life gauges. I should change the name to life gauges. I like life gauges even better. Like, I don't even care that they all start with an M. I like life gauges. These are your life gauges. Go look at them. What's happening with your automobile? What's happening with the vehicle? Something's not right. Good looking M-Guages will tell you what's wrong. As long as they're clear and as long as they're working, everything's fine. You go up to the top. Boom. Is it my mindset? Is it my beliefs? No, man. I totally believe this is possible. Great. Do you know where you're going? Do you know how to get there? Yes, I know exactly where I'm going. I got the waypoint set. I know exactly how to get there. Great. Are the actions you're taking every day moving towards those or away? No, man, they're all moving towards. Okay, good. Then there's the fourth box, measurement. Okay, there's your measurement box. That's the gauge where you're going to start seeing what you're measuring, because a lot of times people are measuring the wrong things. That's why they're, spinning their wheels. They're measuring the wrong things. They're not measuring the right key performance indicators, or they're measuring lagging indicators rather than leading indicators. A lagging indicator might be, I'm going to lose 100 pounds. Okay, so they're monitoring their weight. Well, that's a lagging indication, meaning by the time you see if it worked, it's already over. It's lagging. It's behind. You want to focus on leading indicators. A leading indicator would be, I'm going to do 50 push-ups and run 5 miles every single day. Now, again, the goal might be to lose 100 pounds, but you don't want to measure the weight loss. That's a lagging indicator. You want to measure the push-ups, the miles, the steps, the breath, the workouts, the exercises. Those are the leading indicators. That's what's going to cause that. Don't measure this, measure those. Make sense? That's the measurement box. If that's not the problem, okay, then you want to look at your money box. Now, your money box is not what it sounds like. Sounds like, hell, if I'm not making enough money, I'd check that box. No. You check all these boxes if you're not making the money. Okay. If you have a problem, you're slowed down, you're stuck, you don't know which way to turn, you check these boxes. The money box you check after all these 4 are working. Okay, because if every one of these boxes are in order, I can promise you one thing, money's not going to be an issue for you. If your mindset and belief system is straight, your goals are high enough, you're thinking big enough, your map is detailed, and your actions map to that, and you're measuring the right things, the money will be there, folks. The money will be there. Now, when the money's there, that's what that gauge is for. What are you doing with your money? How are you spending it? Are you investing it and spending what's left? Or are you spending it and investing what's left? Or worse, you're just spending it. Or you want to, care more about what other people think than yourself. So you go out and you pay for the tables and you pay for the bottles and you buy the car that has a $3,000 car payment because you can afford it. Technically, you're making great income. Your mindset's right. Your belief systems are in check, man. You're clear. You got your goals. Every day you're getting up. You're doing the right things. You're kicking ass. You're taking names. You're measuring everything correctly. Bam, you got a pocket full of money and now you start blowing it on stupid shit. You start spending it frivolously, or you start rationalizing. Well, Brad, what if I die the next day? I don't want to die with all my money. Listen, I'm not telling you not to blow money on kick-ass shit. I do it all the time. However, what I'm telling you is build the money gauge and make sure that the money that you're making, okay, is invested to make more money, and use that money to buy your fancy shit. Then you'll never be broke. If you go out and earn a bunch of money and buy a bunch of fancy shit and anything happens to your source of income, you start to realize that that shit that's all paid for, that big house, those cars, it costs money even if it's all paid for. And if you made a bunch of money and you're starting to live a lifestyle that you could afford when you were making a ton of money and anything happens to that money, well, now you can't even pay taxes on your paid off house. You can't even pay, insurance on your car. Pretty soon it's like, holy crap, everything's paid off. I thought all I had to do was pay off all this kick-ass stuff and I'd be fine. Well, no, let me just break it down to you. When you earn money, okay, that's called earned income. You can make as much earned income as you want, and you're still broke. Because if you look at it like this, go calculate how much passive income you have. Some people argue whether passive is such a thing. I define passive as you're not really doing much. It's being made for you from your money, from your investment, from the business that you purchase, from the asset that you purchase, that you're renting out, whatever the case may be. It just shows up. Okay, passive income, rental properties, equipment rental, assets. Okay, they generate money on a regular basis. For example, if right now I said I'm going to go buy a Ferrari 488 GTB, they're about $380,000, I'd say. So let's say I took $380,000. I went down, I paid cash for it. 3 years later, 9 times out of 10, that car is going to be worth less than $380,000. But I didn't have a car payment the whole time, which is not necessarily true because depreciation is a car payment. You just paid them all in advance. But let's say I bought that Ferrari, $380,000, 5 years later. Okay, I'm sitting there. I have a car worth a little bit less. Let's say I kept it in perfect condition. So it still has a little value. But at the end of the day, 5 years later, I've got a car that's went down in value and my $380,000 is gone. This is the difference between rich people and poor people, right? A rich person, or I would say wise, would take that $380,000, put it into an investment that says 10% a year. $38,000 a year is being generated on this money. The $38,000 a year more than likely could damn near pay the car payment on the Ferrari. 5 years later, the Ferrari's paid off and your $380,000 is still sitting there generating $3,800 a month. See the difference? You invest the money and let the profit, the revenue, the interest, the gain from your money buy your toys, and then you'll never be broke. If something goes down, nothing affects you. Your assets are there. Too many people get their money, spend their money, and make, minor investments here and there. Guys, this year, take your money, invest your money, and spend what's left. If you're going to make a large purchase in 2021, unless it's an investment, I highly advise that you go invest the money that you were going to spend on that item. And I'll bet you within 2 or 3 years, that money you invested will pay for the item and you'll still have your money. If you don't have even a modicum, or is it modicum? A modicum. Let me see here real quick. Siri, define modicum. Oh, I got it on the old airplane. A small quantity of particular thing. Yeah, a modicum. If you don't have a modicum of financial wherewithal, Google this shit, folks. Quit going through life spending all your money and investing zero. I can't tell you how many people out there fall victim to this. Do you know why? Because I did. Embarrassingly, way too long, too. Not too long ago, I was sitting there and I made a ton of money and I had a ton of shit. And if you looked at me, you'd be like, dude, he's got tons of dough. Because I did. I made a ton of dough. But I didn't have any assets. I had the cars, I had the houses, I had the jewelry, I had the watch, I had the cars, I had the income. Everything was going great. But then it dawned on me, what if this income stopped? If the income stopped, I would be screwed. Someone said, no, you can start selling that shit. Well, number one, if you're buying shit to sell the shit, there's an issue with that. But not only that, it's all depreciated, and that's not how you should be looking at it. You should be looking at it like this. If I would have spent all the money that I spent on all the shit and I put it into assets, into a cash flow real estate or property, like even a car. I mean, it really doesn't matter as long as it's cash flow investment. If I would have took all the money I blew and put it all into cash flow real estate or property investments, right now I would say that I would probably have, I'll be conservative and say, and again, this is conservative, I would probably have another $50 to $100 million in net worth. That's a big difference. So obviously once I realized this, I started to say, okay, I don't need the fancy shit right now. I don't need everything that I'm getting. I need to get some assets. So I started putting money away. And then guess what happens? Your money goes away. You think you're going to be broke when in reality, you start accumulating assets. Next thing you know, your assets start producing what? Money. Now you got more money than you've ever gotten. And then you put it away into assets, which generates more money. And now you've got more money. So if you think about it, if you want to get rich, stay broke. It's almost ironic. All the money that you get, you go put into something that produces cash flow. And basically that's like saying your money makes money, right? You've heard that. So when your money makes money, you're essentially getting your money from your earned income and getting rid of it. So now you're broke. You don't have any money. People are like, dude, why would you do that? You worked to get money and now you're just going to get rid of it. Yeah. You put it into an investment. You're getting rid of it. You want to stay broke, all extra money, put it into a real estate investment, put it into an investment, even if 3 to 5%, anything's better than the bank. A lot of people have money in the bank because they don't want to lose it just in case. Money in the bank is almost worthless. Just like if I put $1 million in your house and said you can't touch it, pretty soon you would tell me, get this shit out of my house. And I'd be like, what are you talking about? It's $1 million cash. You don't want that in your house? And you're like, no, it does me no good. It's in the way. I can't touch it. I can't use it. Money is only valuable if you use it, right? Not spend it, use it. So you want to take your money and you want to invest it. And then the money that it comes home with, after you've done it a couple times, pretty soon you'll have what's called excess of money. You'll literally be able to put the money for the Ferrari into an investment and take the proceeds from that investment and buy the Ferrari. Now in 5 years, you have the paid off Ferrari. You still have the investment. It's still paying you dividends. And technically it could buy you 10 Ferraris. You know what the amateur does? The amateur takes the $380,000 and it goes and buys the Ferrari. And 5 years later, the Ferrari's worth a fraction and they don't have $380,000. It's as simple as that. Don't complicate it. Everybody wants to think that you need a financial degree. You need to be some stockbroker on Wall Street. You need to be some financial analyst. You don't. Okay, you need to understand the basics. Now, again, you should go study finance. You should study financial analyst. You should go out and take as many courses on investments and real estate and everything. You should learn all of that. Don't get me wrong, but you don't need to know that. What you need to know about money is when you get rid of it properly, it comes back with friends. And then, of course, you get rid of the money and their friends again, and it comes back with more friends. And then pretty soon your full-time job is getting rid of money. That's why I say you want to get rich, stay broke. Every time you get some money, get rid of it. Don't blow it, invest it, but get rid of it. So now you can't be tempted because, again, I've had money in the bank and I'm like, damn, we got a lot of money in the bank. We should take a trip. Next thing you know, I spend $25,000 going to Cabo for a week. And then, you come back, damn, there's some money in the bank. I really do want that car right now. Let me go get that car right now. So you start to get tempted when it's in the bank. Plus, the bank's not really giving you any money. It's some security blanket. That's all it is a security blanket. So if you took that money and you sent it away, you sent it to go reproduce, you sent it to go work, and now you're broke. You don't have the car. You put the money to work. You got the house. You don't have the car. And plus you rented the house or you wouldn't have the cash flow. So guess what? You don't even have the house. You just literally broke, but you own that house. It's going up in equity. You can write off the depreciation and taxes like you wouldn't believe. And the benefit is massive, but yet you technically are broke. You don't have any cash. You gave it to the house. It's gone. But guess what? Boom, comes back with friends. Then you rinse and repeat. Do it again. Take that money, get rid of it. It'll come back with more friends and more friends and more friends. And pretty soon it'll show up ready to party. And it'll have so many friends, you can literally take the friends, buy houses and the mansions and the yachts and the jet rides and the frickin' everything. And now you're balling out of control. And you're truly wealthy. Why? Well, because that shit's not going to end, most likely. The earth would probably end before that ended. Your investments are sound. You have real estate. You have assets. You don't have a bunch of cash. Anybody with a bunch of cash in the bank, unless you have it to find those assets. If your money is being saved in the bank so you can save up enough to buy the asset, that is fine. Okay, don't get me wrong. You can have money in the bank, but only if it's accumulating to meet some sort of investment requirement. But if you've got money in the bank, let's say you worked hard this year, 2020 has been good to you. You have about $500,000 sitting in the bank account. Hey, I've always wanted that Ferrari. Or you rationalize the Ferrari. You say, hey, it's marketing. I'm going to drive the Ferrari so everybody follows me, and then everyone that follows me, I'm going to sell courses to. That's rationalizing. And by the way, that could be an investment. I've seen people do that successfully. You're making fun of the dude in the Ferrari because he rented it, which is still expensive, but you're making fun of that dude or that girl flaunting things that they rented. They don't really have the money. Well, of course they do, or they wouldn't have the asset, but they're just leasing it. So now you think they're a fraud. I've seen people get a Ferrari, put it on social media, and make millions of dollars because sadly, everybody wants to have the lifestyle. Everybody thinks that person knows something they don't because they've got a Ferrari and they don't. Look at this 20-year-old kid with a Ferrari. Well, he must be doing something awesome. Yeah, he's renting a Ferrari. And quite frankly, that technically could be considered an investment, just FYI. If in fact you've got the plan to use it to generate more revenue. Because if you put your money away, just act like that money is exclusively for investment. I cannot spend it on rent. I cannot spend it on clothes. I cannot spend it on anything other than making more money. If you establish an account that money is only for making money, you start to burn a hole in your pocket with that money, but it's only for investments, you'll start to realize, dude, that shit compounds overnight. That shit really makes a difference 3, 5, 10 years from now. Massive difference. And you're not even aware of it because you don't understand the fundamental principles of money. Okay? Money is a tool. Money is used to make more money. Money is not to be saved unless it's being saved to do the aforementioned. Money is a tool. It is not to be saved. It is not a security blanket. Get rid of it. Put it into an investment that makes more money. Send your money away. It'll come back with friends. Trust me when I tell you. And man, the parties are good when all the friends are around, if you know what I mean. So guess what? The money box, the money gauge is when you are kicking ass in all the other areas and you're now making money. Where is that money going? Is it going in the shit or is it going in the assets? And it's easy to see. And don't justify and rationalize blowing it because you're only screwing yourself. You're not screwing me. I don't care what you do. I'm trying to help you by giving you easy to understand philosophies and this little hack that's helped me in life go from a high school dropout that everyone said wouldn't amount to shit to a, easy multimillionaire. And in my opinion, very soon, a billionaire. How did a high school dropout become a billionaire? Well, guess what? I figured it out the hard way, which is why I'm writing my book. And by the way, if you guys haven't pre-ordered my book, you better hurry up and do so, because it's about to launch. And when it does, you cannot order a pre-launch when it launches. When it launches, then you can only buy a book. If you want to buy the book now and get in the pre-order group, the pre-order group is the ones I'm going to pick somebody and give a big old cash award to one of them. I'm going to buy one of the book back. I'm going to buy one of my books back from one of the readers. You can't do that if you wait till it launches. So right now, go to bradlee.com and pre-order that book. I'm telling you, it's called The Hard Way, and it's lessons I learned the hard way so you don't have to. I think the M-Guages are in there if you want more detail and clarity on them, but it's just the shit I learned the hard way in life. I mean, I know I look freaking younger than I am. I'm 52. That's like an ancient sumbitch. In 52 years, and by the way, I've lived 100 years, but I'm 52 years old. I've learned a lot of shit, and I've learned it the hard way. The number one thing I tell people is if I could start over, I would seek information and counsel immediately. I'd start at 14 years old, and I'd be reading every book like a freaking mad person. I'd be seeking counsel. I'd be asking questions. I'd be applying what I learned. And I would have found all kinds of shortcuts. I would have saved a ton of brain damage. I would have saved a ton of freaking work. Now, some people are like, oh, if you didn't work for it, it's not worth it. Don't believe that bullshit. Don't believe that bullshit, folks. Okay? You're trying to get somewhere. If someone wants to give you a ride, drop you off, take it. Take the ride. Okay. You don't have to work. You don't have to hitchhike. You don't have to, break your back just to make it worth it. It's the destination regardless. But at the end of the day, man, 2021's coming up tomorrow. Tomorrow's January 1. Don't sit there and tell me, well, it's a Saturday. So is it Saturday or no, it'll be a Friday. Some of you might get the weekend off. Like my guys, my team, I'm going to just give them Friday off. Why? Well, they don't work on January 1. It's New Year's Day. Okay, everybody's hungover from New Year's Eve. And I never talk shit. You want to party. I don't really give a shit. I partied and did all kinds of crap and still made money. This is my pet peeve with people, Oh, you're going to go out and drink? You're not going to grind? Dude, you don't have to grind your whole life. You can go out New Year's Eve, get shit-faced drunk, wake up, take the first off, and be fine. You'll be better if you don't, but you can still get ahead and still get your drinks in. You can still play your Xbox. You can still watch your freaking Netflix. You don't have to freaking grind your face off if you're doing what I'm telling you. So let's take 2021 seriously. Let's make a commitment and a decision to do something. Don't tell people what you're going to do. Just do it. Every year we get these New Year's resolutions. Like, I think there's statistics, but like almost half of all Americans make New Year's resolutions, and almost half don't do shit. Okay, gyms are full in January and then back to empty on February. I think the statistics are actually 8% of the people that set 2021 or annual, yearly New Year's resolutions actually keep them. Okay, that means 92% of the people that set these New Year's resolutions in place, they don't even do them. Why? Well, because they don't believe in themselves. Let's not let 2021 be the year that you could have done something or you should have done something. Let's make 2021 the year you did it. It's just a choice, folks. Take the complication out of it. Take the boo-hoo, I'm a freaking dropout and my mama didn't love me and my daddy used to beat me. I get it. And trust me, I wish that wasn't the case. But it doesn't matter what happened to you. You can do anything you want to do. You really can. It's not a matter of, if you can do it. You can do it. The question is do you believe it? Because if you don't believe it, trust me, you're probably going to be correct. Your mindset is where it all begins. Get your perspective correct. Be grateful every day. Be kind, be honest, be respectful, be ethical, be vigilant, be aware. But when it boils down to simplicity, you got to understand, most people think you have to do something, to be something, to have something. That's not the formula. You don't have to do something, to be something, to have something. You literally have to be something, to do something, to have something. It's be, do, have, not do, be, have, or do, have, be. It's be, do, have. You become, then you do, then you have. If that's confusing to you, play this whole thing over again. Take action. Make choices. Believe in yourself. It's 2021, folks. How many years is it going to take you to pull the head out of your ass? And by the way, for those of you that are thinking, what's he talking about? He's just making an assumption that my head's in my ass. Dude, listen, if you guys are kicking ass, taking names in life right now, and everything is going smooth, then God bless you, and man, keep that shit up. Okay? This isn't for you. This is for the people that deserve more than they're getting. And if you think in your head, I do deserve more than I'm getting, I want more or I deserve more, either one, this is how you do it. You use the M-Guages. You navigate. You use your brain. You quit thinking it's complicated. You quit limiting your belief. You quit coming up with reasons why you can't and start to focus on finding out how you can. The reticular activator system in your brain automatically works that way. You start to ask the universe, how do I do this? And you will find answers. How is this possible? And you will attract the people and the solutions you need. But you have to be thinking how, not it's never going to happen. I'm a dropout. My daddy abused me. My girlfriend dumped me. Nobody loves me. I got a short pecker. Whatever your excuse is an excuse. Anybody listening to this has the same chances as anybody else. And you can look at every multimillionaire and look at their background and watch their story and listen to their story, and you will start to see that almost all of them are saying the exact same things. Success leaves clues, folks. I'm sure you've heard that. You know what that means? That means go emulate what other people are doing, and 9 times out of 10, you will get what other people are getting. If you admire somebody in their life or what they have, you find out what are they doing every day? What is their mindset? What are they freaking doing every day to achieve those things? And you emulate those, and folks, 9 times out of 10, you will emulate the result. Like action causes like result. So these gauges, I just wanted to give them to you. These gauges are just like, just little cheat codes. So 2021 begins. You start on the 1st. You remove procrastination and you start going. If there's a problem, there's any issues, there's any challenges, there's any roadblocks, obviously you're welcome to jump on dropping bombs, because we'll be dropping them all year long. But before you do that, I just wanted you to be able to help yourself. Some of you can't afford mentoring. Some of you can't afford coaching. Some of you are too stubborn or too stupid to get it, like I was. Okay, you're too stupid to go get my book. You're too stupid to do all the shit we should be doing, like I was. This is for you, okay? The life gauges, your mindset, your map, your motions, your measurements, and your money. If you can master your mindset, get clarity on where you're going, visualize properly, hold yourself accountable to the daily actions and habits that you take and form. The decisions that you make, the choices that you make determine the road you take. It boils down to choices, folks. It's just choices. You're making them. You're responsible. Quit thinking someone else is responsible. It's not the president. It's not your girlfriend. It's not your sister. It's not your dad. Okay? It's you. And when you own that shit, that's when you'll start to be able to change that shit. This is part of what I mean by you got to change your mind. If you're blaming everybody that you can't do this and you can't do that, listen to yourself. You're limited. Yeah, but you don't understand. I had this childhood and it's easy for you to say you've got money. I never had money. I had the childhood. I had all that. And this is how I got rid of it. Like action causes like result. Listen to me, friends. I'm telling you, I'm not trying to preach. I'm trying to give you enough information to get you to another level. Because once you start to see another level, once you start to get a little discretionary income, and it's easier to make that money, invest that money, retain its friends, and start actually living. Okay? You're going to thank me. But most of you, unfortunately, according to statistics, won't do a motherfucking thing. So for you guys, well, thanks for spending an hour with me and listening to my rant. For those of you that are going to take this and actually execute it, man, I'm excited for you because 2021 is going to be your best year ever. Folks, I hope you have a great New Year's. I hope 2021 brings you every single thing you possibly put on that map. I hope everything in your life goes exactly like you want it to. But if it doesn't, go check your gauges. See if your beliefs are fucked up. If they are not, move on to your map. Do you have clarity? Do you know where you're going? If you do, move on to your motions. Are your habits screwed up? Are your daily actions moving you away from the map? And then you're wondering why you didn't achieve it when every single day you knew you were moving away from the destinations? And if your habits are good and you're moving towards the destination every day, are you measuring the right thing? And remember, if your mindset's good and your map's clear and your motions, your actions are clear, your decisions are good, and you're measuring the right shit, folks, so it's not like a bad, compass. Everything's true and correct. You're heading exactly where you want to go, and then you're going to be making a buttload of money, at least some extra discretionary money. And then that last box, man, that's important, dude. I've seen a lot of people make a lot of money over a 20-year period and end up broke because their money gauge was messed up. They didn't realize that the money you make is not your money. That is the tool to make your money. Ask yourself this question. I'm going to leave you with this. Ask yourself this question. How much money do you have if everything that you earned stopped coming in from your job, from your business, your earned income? If it stopped, how much money would you have coming in? If the answer is none, well then, son, I don't care how much money you think you got. You're broke. You're a broke joke. And so was I not too long ago until I realized this. And I said, damn, I better get to work. I better stop spending money on shit I don't want or need. I'm only buying it to impress this person or that person. Who gives a shit what other people think? Worry more about what you think. Because I can promise you, dude, if you're one of those people that in 20 years you end up broke and you go to all your buddies who was riding with you, they were drinking the booze, they were riding in the boats, they were doing the same shit and you were paying for most of it because you were the one raking in all the dough. And now 20 years later, you don't have any dough and you call those same friends, try to sleep on their couch. Most of them ain't going to let you. And guess what? The ones that do are going to be laughing at you. Look at that sucker. Made all that money and blew it. Trust me, guys, don't do it. Be smart. Use the earned income to make passive income. Send your money off to get friends. Don't forget the money box, folks. Don't forget the gauge that shows you your real age. Because if you're, sitting there naked and telling the truth, your passive income is how much money you are. That's how much money you make. If someone said, hey, how much money do you make other than your job? And you're like, well, nothing. Then you're a broke joke, dude or dudette, ma'am, sir, you're broke. Okay? Face the facts, look in the mirror, grab the freaking nutsack, and freaking understand that you're broke. I don't care you're making $100,000 a month. I don't care you're living in a big fancy house. I don't care you got Ferraris and Lamborghinis. If you don't have money coming in while you're sleeping, if you don't have money coming in passively from the money or the investments or the assets, if you don't have that coming in, I don't care what you're making a year, $7 million a year. You're living in the mansions. You got the helicopters. Everybody thinks you're high rolling, but you don't have any money coming in. If that main earned income stopped, you're broke. And you need to wake up. And hopefully this is your wake up call. And if it isn't, I'm sure I'll see you during the year on Dropping Bombs or Closer School, or I'll be seeing your receipts from my Hardway book. Or I'll see you spin up a Lightspeed VT system, or I'll see you in the LSVT Army. By the way, folks, that's where I want to close. I got excited the other day because I'm starting to show people how to make recurring revenue. Recurring revenue is the king of revenue. Okay. I can show people how to make recurring revenue, $2,000 a month, $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month. Hell, I got people doing $50,000 a month. It's not an MLM. There's no cost. You just go to lsvtarmy.com. I will show you how to create recurring revenue. If you go to the website, it'll explain the program a little bit more. You log into the system, you'll understand in within 20 minutes what it's about. I train people every week. I provide the training and the tools. You got to provide the work and the effort. But if you're one of those people that just say you want to be rich, you don't really want to do the work, you just say you want to change, you don't really want to do the work, don't worry about it. It's not for you and it probably won't work. But if you're one of those people that just don't know how, you just don't know how, I'll show you. I'll give you the tool. I'll give you the vehicle. I'll give you the gas. All you got to do is drive. Folks, I'm out of time. These solo bombs, I don't even know half the time why I do them. But listen, today was special because I wanted to make sure in 2021, if you get stuck, if you're on the side of the road and you can't get going, man, it's devastating. So now you got your M-Guages. Now you got your life gauges. Share this out in case someone else you know needs life gauges. And until next year, kids, keep it real.
Dropping bombs with the real Brad Lee. Subscribe now.